Hi everyone. This video is about 2D, 3D hybrid lighting fixture symbols in Vectorworks and how you can create your own 2D outline to properly represent vertical fixtures. So this is a GLP X4 bar 20. I just downloaded it from the Vectorworks library and it looks like that. This is very simple. And if we look at it in 3D, the geometry is here, which is fine and what you would expect. But if we look at this little array I have drawn here, I modified the symbol, I've added some color, and I also added the name. But more specifically in the 3D, I actually installed those vertically. And that creates quite a problem. And the issue is that in the top line view, it does not represent the design at all. It looks like I would want them installed horizontally, which is not what I drew in the 3D. And that's quite normal. That's expected because a 2D, 3D hybrid symbol is connected to a single 2D outline instance. And in this case, it looks like this. So whatever I do with the 3D geometry, it'll always look like this on the top line view. Of course, if I go to top, then we're looking at the actual geometry. But that's not what we want today. That's not what I'm looking for. In order to do that, I'm going to open the resource manager, and then in my file I have this one, and let's say, for example, I could just modify this one, but let's say I actually want to have some bars on the floor and a few installed vertically. So that means I will need two different symbols. So I'm just going to duplicate it, and this one yeah, this one's not going to be called 21, it's still a 20, but it's going to be called top, because this one will be looking at from the top. To make sure I have the proper geometry to import in my symbol, I'm simply going to flip the top, and then over the outline here, I'm just going to draw a few rectangles on top. Just 2D rectangles. One here. There's one I missed. There's one here. There's a really tiny one below. Come on. There's this one that represents the connectors. And this little quirky shape, I'm going to use a polyline for that. It's not going to be perfect. I can make a circle. That will be fine. Just going to go around and then close that loop. I can get rid of that fixture itself. Just going to delete it. And if I come back, I have here the perfect 2D representation of the 3D geometry when it's installed vertically. So next I'm going to select this and then Control C to copy. In the resource manager, I'm going to edit the 2D component of that symbol. 2D component at the moment looks like this, but I don't need any of that. So I'm going to delete this and then paste what I just drew. In my case, I think what I want to do is have the insertion point be the very bottom of the fixture. So let's Control L twice and then place this as the insertion point. Now I like to have a little color on my 2D symbols. So these two will be pink, for example. This one, I'll center back. I don't want the outline on top of it, so I'll just Control B, center back now. I'll change the pen for red, and usually these connector representation are 0.35 thickness. All right, something like this. And now I'm also going to add a little text, X4. For example, that's a little big. Let's say 3. 3 looks great. I'm going to set this up here. And now this is what I want my fixtures to look like in the top line view to properly represent a vertically installed X4 bar 20. This geometry I don't need anymore. And if we go back to the source manager, it looks very different. It looks like what we just added to it. But let's say, for example, I just double click on it and install one. Let's go here. I'm installing one and we don't need any of that. All right. But I haven't changed the 3D component. So if we look at the 3D, it's still the same old 3D and not what we want. Let's go back to the resource manager and now edit the 3D component. So I'm taking a mental note here that the way I drew this, the bottom of the fixture, the base is on the bottom and the connectors are on the right. And this is what I need to mirror or to properly represent in the 3D as well. So the 3D looks like this at the moment, and we're looking at it from the top now. So the top should not look like this. It should only look at the top of the fixture. So to make sure it's properly oriented, let's go to front view, Control L the thing. And in this specific case, I need the insertion point to be the bottom of the fixture when we install it vertically. So I'm going to set this to the 0 and then look at it from the top now to make sure that I align it properly, which was that bottom on the bottom and the connector is on the right. So I'm just going to rotate this in this direction and then take the bottom and match it right here. So the base is on the bottom, fixture is on the top, and the connectors are on the right. And that was exactly what I drew here in the 2D as well. To make sure, exit this. And now if we look just simply at the 3D, it looks fine. It's installed vertically. And that's what the 2D outline of the 2D, 3D hybrid symbol represents. And to make sure it is properly aligned, let's say in a case where I have two next to the other, and I want to measure the distance between the two. Well, I need the 2D outline component to be perfectly aligned. So if we go from top plan to top, we see that it is perfectly aligned. That means that if I take a measurement, it's the actual measurement between the 3D symbols as well. And if you're curious, here's what could go wrong if we make a mistake or not sure what we're doing in between a 2D and a 3D components of a hybrid symbol. Let's say I re-edit the 2D component and voluntarily put it like this, which is not necessarily obvious, but that could lead to quite important issues. When you look at it from here and you just quickly flip and look at everything looks fine. But if you go straight from top line to top, there's quite a difference between your top plan and your actual 3D install that could cause some issues. So that's why when we create the 2D and 3D, we really align them carefully and we flip from top plan to top to make sure that it's perfectly aligned before saving and actually making a plan with it. If I go back, the center of the base, go back to 0, exit, let's flip the top to top line, and then back, and that's perfect. And that's how you create custom 2D geometry for vertically installed lighting devices. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.